Hey y'all, I think I need to preface this video by saying that I've barely played fighter. The majority of my games played have been on druid and rogue with some priest and cryo mixed in here and there, so I am not an expert fighter. But since I've been doing budget kit guides for every other class, I figured I at least had to try. In my mind, going for the stamina perk first to get the shield whenever you press Q, and then building strength all the way after that to get both charges of dash is the best build, but it's also hard to get one on a budget. And because I'm more used to a kiting in and out style of play, I was really struggling to get kills in gear at first. So instead, I decided to try for a 0 to hero on stream, and that didn't last very long, and it wasn't too exciting, so I did another a little bit after my stream. I took a little break and went back to it to hopefully get some better clips for y'all. And that's basically going to be the whole video. And as a side note, I didn't mention the dexterity perk that increases your damage after you block an attack, but I do think that this perk is also strong. I just know that personally, I wasn't going to use it as effectively as possible, and I would have preferred to have the 2 dashes. And if you're also new to fighter and you're watching this video, it does take some practice to start to get the parries down, and that's why I was skipping over that one. So let's get right into the video. Like I stated before, I did try this build out and it probably would have been fine if I was better at melee, but it wasn't working for me because I'm more used to a kiting playstyle. So I eventually ended up just doing the 0 to hero like I said before, and I just wanted to show the build anyway because it can be done with mostly greens, but you will need a couple blue pieces here and there just to make sure you get that extra strength. And we're just going to skip through those geared fails because it was honestly pretty bad and I really just needed to practice before I put that gear on. So I started off in base kit with absolutely nothing. I didn't have heals. I just went straight into the game and I was using the longsword and the crossbow because I wanted to be able to get a little bit of poke damage in before I fully engaged the fight. Okay. Oh, I was also using Whirlwind because I wanted an ability that did something other than just melee. I was really just taking baby steps into learning that, and I'm pretty okay at playing around cooldowns, but yeah, I'm just really bad at melee, so it was just baby steps. I do know that the other ability is better, and when I did the other 0 to hero that you'll see a little bit later on, I was using that one instead. And I did fail this first door open. I was trying to make sure that I was able to get space and pull out my longsword just in case he dashed in and used Whirlwind, and that's exactly what he did. So at this point, I'm assuming that we're both relatively around the same health, so I'm trying to just count how many hits that we both get on each other and make sure that I'm not actually falling behind, and if I am, I'm going to try to back up and hit a crossbow shot. Not fair, you have health pots? I need those. And shield pots? He's gonna have his whirlwind back. Got him. And if he blocked instead, there's definitely a chance that I lost there. He was also trying to use his whirlwind as soon as he could. And rogues, especially the Mithril Order ones, just literally don't stand a chance against the fighter unless they're cutting around the room and using the crossbows. And this right here is actually where I lost the first 0 to hero. It was against another Death Knight, and at the end of the day, I just ended up losing the melee trades. I was trying to make sure that I used the dash to get out of his Q ability, but even though I was doing that, I just wasn't winning the melee trades still. And every time I used Whirlwind, he was good enough to know to block it. He ran away. He's blocking. Oh, I got stuck. Oh no, I'm dead. And after that death, I decided to get off fighter for a little bit, and after stream I took a little break and came back to it, and this one went a little bit better for us. We are using rage now instead of whirlwind, but other than that, it's basically the same idea. I'm just going to use the longsword and the crossbow. With that, I'm not going to be able to get stamina into the double strength, so I'm just trying to get strength, stamina, and dexterity and hope that works out for us. And the game after we fought that swordmaster, we actually run into a death knight who has a couple pretty good heirlooms on, and it's honestly a decent come up for us. And as you'll probably notice from this fight, I do actually change my mindset a little bit. I want to play more like how I'm used to playing rogue and druid, and I'm deciding that I'm going to go in and out a whole lot more rather than just go in and try to win the fight like that. Having both dashes would be very useful for this playstyle, but since I don't have that yet, I'm just trying to make do with one. And I start this fight off awfully and basically just waste both of my abilities, by the way. Personally, I don't think I deserved to win that fight. The incendiary flask was good, but the rest of it was very scuffed. I canceled 2 separate charges of my heavy attack with my longsword that both would have done a ton of damage, and I messed up and used both of my abilities at the same time, which basically just got canceled out by the pull since I was stunned for most of the duration of my lifesteal. But after this fight, we have a decent amount of gear, so I just kind of decided, screw it, we're gonna go into classic now. And it's about this point into that classic match that I realize someone's coming across and starting to run toward me. Spoiler, it's another death knight. And once again, I'm just going to try to adopt the playstyle from my other classes that I do well with and try to just be a little bit more in and out, take a few trades and then back up and heal and then take a few trades. It's probably not the best thing to do with fighter, but it's what's working the best for me at this current time until I get a little bit better with melee. Here I was actually trying to wrap around, but there was one skeleton in the way, and as I was killing that, he actually comes through the other door, and I figured I didn't really have enough time to both open and shut this door, so I just decided to wait for him. And that was a little bit too close. If it got hit by the hook, we died there, but I was able to reset the fight again, and I heard him coming right after I finished up healing, so I just decided to wait behind the corner and charge up a longsword attack for his face. And now it's his turn to run from me, and I know that, so I'm just going to try to hit him with a Thunder Flask and keep the chase going, but the Thunder Flask actually ends up getting us the kill. And I didn't get too much as far as upgrades from this guy, but I did definitely take his sword, after control right clicking on mine multiple times to try to drop it, even though it was in my hands. Oh yeah, we also finally got rid of our base pants. And then the start of this next game was a little hectic, I started to clear out from the spawn and someone actually spawn rushed me, and I'm just going to do the same thing again, try to kite a little bit and then turn on him. And something that I actually did a little bit better here was I used the longsword and the dash together to get a longer range on the dash and actually hit him when he didn't think that I could. But then we ended up getting third-partied by a cryo, so I just decided that I was going to back up at this point and try to heal up and then come back and be the third party myself. Everybody's a gangster until they're near death. Oh look, I think we're roughly like 3 minutes into the game at this point, and there's a fourth player, so I'm just gonna try to grab what I can and get out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. There's too much going on. And after grabbing this guy's loot, I'm just deciding that I want to leave and not come back. So honestly, I was playing like a rat. I was trying to avoid every fight that I could and just running away from people. A couple minutes later into the game and still nobody's died, and I find this little spot and I'm just trying to be my best rat self because this is right next to an extract and I want to take the extract as soon as I can. This spot works hilariously well, by the way. I waited until the circle started to close and bro just ran in a circle though. So I decided, screw it, I'm gonna take this fight against another fighter and hopefully it works out for us. This guy was constantly using his charged sword attack with his shield, and I've barely seen anybody do that, so I wasn't super used to it at first. What I realized at the end is you could literally just sidestep it, and more often than not it's gonna miss you. He's basically just jousting, but it definitely took me too long to realize that. I'm gonna be honest with you, I was pretty annoyed here. The stone shaping flask stopped me from being able to get through this door. The extract's on the other side of the door. Oh well, that's the end of the run and the end of this video. This guy had a ton of gear, but it was basically all just stamina. This guy had 94 stamina. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you next time. Peace.